As we mentioned, Dr. Dan Schneider is joining us now. He's the adjunct professor of theology at Franciscan University of Steubenville. He also wrote this book, Liber Christo Method, and we are so happy to have you here. Thank you, Dan, for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it being on your show, gentlemen. I appreciate your apostolate and what you guys do for the church. So thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
Oh, we appreciate you being on here, too. And maybe before we get into some specific questions, if you could, maybe just talk a little bit about the Liber Christo Method, if you could, Dan.
Yeah, this book is a fruit of years of working with cases both at the local level and with Father Chad Ripperger, who wrote the introduction for it. It's developed a part of the 4-phase protocol that Father Chad Ripperger uses, and it's basically phase 2 of that 4-phase. It's a catechetical program to help uncover areas of it's a 12-step area, 12 lessons to uncover areas that you may have allowed the enemy into your life, areas of virtue, psychological trauma, things that create attractiveness to the enemy, and so. But it's also, it was a difficult ride because I wanted to, it had to pass nihil obstat and imprimatur, but also had to be readable for the average Catholic. So it took a while to kind of weave through that. But so I kind of bring it back to my own, it's Veterans Day, my own military experience. I was an Army helicopter pilot. And so I based it upon some of the premises of guerrilla warfare in the U.S., but the U.S. Army Rangers use. So I kind of made it practical for people and functional for today, a real functional guide on how to do spiritual warfare. This is not a book of problems. It's not going to tell you stories about the crazy things that the devil does. It's a book about solutions, how we can live our Catholic faith and find true freedom and liberation, interior freedom and liberation.
Well, thank you, first of all, for your service. It's very much appreciated. I know from the whole staff here at Catholic TV. How do we know, Dr. Dan, if there might be a spiritual component to our physical and mental issues?
Yeah, we never want to assume that it's physical or spirit. I mean, you never want to assume that it's diabolic when it's just physical. Always try to exhaust all the natural remedies first. So if you're suffering even mental problems, if you're having mental issues, don't assume it's diabolic. Physical problems, learn how to, exhaust all the natural remedies first. And part of that is also what we've really embedded into the book. Part of the ordinary means of obtaining grace, besides the sacraments and prayer, is learning to do redemptive suffering, offering redemptive suffering as well, which is it's kind of a untapped gem in spiritual warfare that people don't really utilize, but it's very powerful. So learning how to offer your suffering for the souls in purgatory, all that old-fashioned Catholic stuff that we learned years ago and our mom and dad taught us and grandma taught us, that old phrase, offer it up. And so learning how to use this in an effective way is very important. But over time, causality is something that we discern through the 4-phase protocol. But again, we don't look to blame the devil on every single thing that happens to us.
And how does order in our homes and prayer actually help with fighting any type of spiritual warfare?
Yeah, Rogers Rules for Rangers. I was holding up my handbook. I was going through my old Army box. I was just cleaning out my garage, and I found my old Army box, and I found my Ranger handbook. And the very first rule for Rogers Rangers says that every Ranger is bound by the rules and articles of war. And so in the book, I try to lay out what are those rules of engagement. The enemy doesn't want us to know the rules of engagement, but the rules are pretty straightforward and they track. And the enemy is going to respond. He's not going to yield to me because I have a PhD. He's not going to yield to a priest because he's handsome. He's going to yield to the authority the built-in structure of authority according to that person's office in relation to the person, place, or the object. So the first rule, the enemy is going to yield or not yield based upon, does he have requisite authority of the person, the place, or the object? But what we found also is that the demon responds to the imposition of order as much as to the prayers themselves. So imposing order, ordering your life to prayer, pulling back from all of the social media, internet searches, all that distractions, and focusing on Christ and meditating on the daily mass scriptures and is very important to help gain custody of the interiority, custody of the imagination. And so that's the foundation that you have to lay before you start uncovering and looking at other areas of more nuanced aspects of spiritual warfare. The first thing is ordering your life to prayer and developing a life of mental prayer. meditation or mental prayer is very important. This is why the rosary, Lectio Divina, the ancient tradition of the church, of the monastic tradition, ultimately this is a monastic model, and we follow some of the basic principles of monasticism. Pray and work and Lectio Divina, meditative prayer is very, very important. But it all begins by a structured order, set times of prayer, certain times of prayer every day.
Well, Dr. Dan, it's been great to have you with us. The name of the book is the Liber Christo Method. Can you tell people how they can get a copy, please?
Yes, you can get it on Tan Books, tanbooks.com. I think Amazon might be sold out, but Tan just got another shipment in, and so we should go to Amazon's taking back orders, and Tan has just got another shipment in, so you should be able to get it directly from Tan Books.
Were you surprised when you found out that it had sold out?
I was and I wasn't. So I asked them, how many did you order? And they said, oh, if you sell that many in a year, that'll be a miracle. And so I asked the Blessed Mother, hey, if you would like, sell this out before the end of the year. And it sold out. The first run sold out in about 6 weeks. So thanks be to God. It's a practical book. It's not entertainment. It is what it is. It's a manual on spiritual combat. I was a little surprised, but nothing Our Lady does ever surprises me.
Well, thank you so much again for being with us.
Thanks,
and
Dan.
have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.